Alright, hello everyone. This video will be slightly different. I am currently moving, so bear with me a bit. But today we'll be taking a look at the Feyachi RS-30. As of recording this, it is right now going for $49.99 on Amazon. It'll fit on your standard Picatinny rails, and it has 5 brightness settings and 4 selectable reticles. Now, before I get any further, I should definitely mention that this is a review copy. I had this sent to me for free by Feyachi themselves. That being said, I'm definitely going to tell you guys what I think about it and how it performed a bit. So, what should you be expecting from a $50 optic? You should be expecting it to be good enough for airsoft and good enough for plinking in the backyard, probably. Would I put this on a serious gun, that probably for home defense? No. For me, what I would use these type of optics for is a lot of my printed builds that don't really have any form of optics. It's really nice to be able to see where you can shoot, right? And the RS-30 did a good enough job actually at that. I was actually able to hit groups, and it was bright enough to see during daylight most of the time if the battery wasn't dead. Now, I really didn't get to take this thing out too far. The range I shot at had a max distance of 45 feet, so I basically shot this thing at 9 yards, and I'll show a little bit of the groups I made with it. Yeah, it's acceptable at 9 yards, but it better be. To adjust your zero, you're going to first have to loosen up this side screw. This will be your locking screw. You're going to need to be very cautious not to lose this thing. But once you have that loosened up, you can now adjust the windage and elevation set screws. And once you got that nice and set, be sure to remember to retighten that side set screw, unless you like shooting the left wall of your range. Durability-wise, the RS-30 was able to handle the AG range bag torture test. What is the AG range bag torture test, you might ask? Well, it's when I put my gun with the optic attached to it inside my range bag, and I take it from my apartment to my car, and then from my car to the range. And then once I finish with the range, I put it back inside my range bag, I put it back inside my car, and then I take it back to my apartment. So far, every single optic I've had has passed that test with flying colors, though there is one exception. In fact, only one optic I've used has failed that test, and that was the Feyachi RS-29. The optic that is one tier, I guess, below this one. I'm not really sure exactly how the naming schemes work for their optics. Now, I told that to Feyachi when we were talking about sending me the RS-30, and they actually did give me an entirely new RS-29, so that was nice of them. But with that experience, I really wasn't going to be pushing this optic too far. In fact, if you look between the mount and the optic itself, you can actually see all the electronics exposed. So I also wouldn't really take this optic out, during rain or somewhere where it's going to be getting wet. I really don't need to dip it in water to know it's probably not waterproof like an EOTech maybe. If you know you are in a place where there's a lot of debris or a lot of sand or something, maybe that's also something to consider as well. For me though, I'm using this mostly in indoor ranges, and with that, all the optic really needs to be able to do is handle some basic shock forces of me carrying the gun and optic in my bag. Oh yeah, and of course, recoil. So the gun I've had this attached to is actually a 3D printed 9mm PCC. It is called the King Cobra 9. So some of you guys may know this is a gun that uses magnets. And the place that the RS-30 was mounted on was right above the magnets, so it's nice to know that the exposed electronics of the RS-30 can handle magnets. But either way, I probably shot 500 rounds through the King Cobra 9 with the RS-30 on top of it, and really no major issues, and it held zero well enough. I didn't really have any issues, actually. I was able to always hit where I was needing to. Granted, I was also shooting at 45 feet, so I guess it did pass the AG range bag torture test then. Congratulations. So, to wrap this up, would I recommend the Feyachi RS-30? To answer that, you're really going to have to ask yourself this question. What exactly are you trying to do with your optic? Now for me, what I need this optic to be is cheap enough where I can buy a bunch of them, and good enough where I can actually hit targets and hit things without really any major problems. I don't like constantly moving around some of my good optics, like my Sig Romeo around or my EOTech. I don't want to constantly re-zero that, and also, I don't want to move it from my other rifles that I do care a little bit more about. In that specific use case where you're constantly building things and you kind of just need an optic that's cheap enough where you can buy a bunch of them and good enough where it holds zero for ranges and stuff, yeah, I guess I'd recommend it. It's pretty good for that. But for, if you're going target shooting or you're going long distance shooting or you're going to do 3-gun or something like that, Yeah, there are better optics for this. I would not really recommend that. Like, I don't even really know what MOA this thing is. It doesn't really say it anywhere. I don't know if it's 3 MOA, 5 MOA, 10 MOA. Don't really know. I should also probably say, too, is I really should preface a lot of that, too, with I would really get this on sale. If you can find it for probably under 50, that's more ideal. I would say 40 is really, really good at that point. I would say, yeah, go for it. 50 that's a little bit more of a that's a bit more of a harder sell. 60, no. 70, no. 80, no. No, 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 no. Really, the thing I like about this one is, specifically around this price range, it probably has the best battery life of maybe a $50 optic. A lot of the cheaper airsoft, like Chinesium ones they die very, very fast. If you left it on for maybe like a couple hours, you come back to it, you'll realize it's extremely dim, barely impossible to even use. That's a really annoying problem. So it's nice that this one has a lot better battery life. It shockingly does really do have. I did notice that, definitely. The battery life is better than most. I do think it probably would benefit from like an auto turn off feature, but I don't know, maybe that's a little bit too hard to code it in. But that still doesn't really even compare to like a SIG Romeo MSR, or definitely not the Romeo 5. It's much better than a lot of the other cheaper airsoft optics. Now, by the time this is uploaded, hopefully there should be a Prime Day super sale, if anything, for a lot of Feyachi's optics and other accessories. I should have a link in the description below. While I don't know what the price will be, hopefully it should be good enough for your guys' use cases. Again, remember, make sure it fits your use case. Don't be surprised when it's not on Holosun. I also want to make sure I thank Feyachi again for sending me a review copy. It's very nice of them, especially when I told them my first experience with them was the RS-29 that broke on me. They replaced it and gave me a new one, so that's nice to know that they do stand by their products. So, all right. Next video will probably be about a gun safe, and that one should be, again, pretty short. I'll probably do some more printed gun stuff, once I finally finish moving, so about like a month or two. It's been a lot of fun, isn't it? Either way, see you guys sometime soon, and have a nice day. Oh yeah, and print more guns. Huh? Oh, it appears the optic died on me. Huh. How? How is it dead? Oh, no, there it is. There it is. It is very, very hard to see. Holy shit. Is the battery just dying? This is unseeable. Okay. That's not terrible. Yeah, that's not the worst thing in the world. Yeah, the more I look at this, this is okay. By no means is this the best. Oh, we're out of ammo. Okay, cool. It's not the worst thing in the world. It's not that bad. For group-wise, that's probably the best I'm gonna get.